I know many of my lessons derive from things that I have experienced in some of the arguments and debates and just questions that people may have had in the past. One of the things that I guess you can say faced, or one of the things that I heard before, was the description of God as being as having changed through the two testaments. In the Old Testament, we have a punishing, mean, just God that will deliver His wrath, where in the New Testament we have a loving God that will let all things slide. Everybody will be fine because He's not the God of the Old Testament like He was anymore. Now He's all love, and everything will be fine. Well, to some extent, the fact that God has changed some things, it may be true, because He did change how He interacts with us. He did change how long He would wait for certain punishment. He changed how He would punish people. He promised that He would never flood the world again. So some things did change. But when those people are making those arguments, the one thing that they miss is that there are attributes to God that never change, and it will not change. Today, the lesson is not about debating if God has changed or not. I'm telling you, He has not. The same God that had love and compassion, that had the wrath and the justice in the Old Testament, it is the exact same God that has the love and compassion of the New Testament. He has the same amount of wrath and justice. He has the same amount of patience and mercy and kindness. Some of these attributes didn't change it. And I'm not here to argue or to make a case that they change or not. I'm telling you they don't. If you want to make a case, if you want to argue, that's fine. I'll argue with you outside. We're taking in the parking lot. Just kidding. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss. I'll try to show to you that He did not change many of these attributes. The lesson today is about one of these attributes. One of the things that did not change and will not change. And if you read the bulletin, you see the title. It's His meticulousness. His attention to detail. The fact that God, when He says He wants certain things a certain way, He wants things a certain way. He did not change how meticulous He is about a number of things. And that's when we turn to Leviticus. Leviticus 9. I'll start in verse 22. We go all the way to chapter 10, verse 7. So if you follow along with me, Leviticus 9, starting in verse 22. It says, Then Aaron lifted up his hands toward the people and blessed them. And he came down from offering the sin of offering and the burnt offering and the peace offerings. And Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting, and when they came out, they blessed the people. And the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. And fire came out from before the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the pieces of fat on the altar. And when all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces. Then in chapter 10, verse 1 says, Now Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it, and laid incense on it, and offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, which He had not commanded. And fire came out from before the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said to Aaron, This is what the Lord has said, Among those who are near me I will be sanctified, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said to them, Come here, carry your brothers away from the front of the sanctuary and out of the camp. So they came near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, as Moses had said. And Moses said to Aaron and to Eleazar and Ithamar, his sons, Do not let the hair of your head hang loose. Do not tear your clothes, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the congregation. But let your brothers, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning that the Lord has kindled. In the not go outside the entrance of the tent of meeting, lest you die, for the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moses. You see, it's interesting how the Old Testament carries such great value for us as Christians, because Romans 15:4 says that they were written for our learning. They are a great source of hope. According to 1 Corinthians 10:11, they were written for our admonition, so that we may not make similar mistakes. There are so many things that we can learn from the Old Testament. You think the book of Leviticus and a dry book to many, but it does carry a whole lot of value. We know the name is derived from Levi, from the tribe which the priests came, and it is primarily a handbook for priests under the law of Moses. That's why for us sometimes it can be so hard to read through all of those laws in the book of Leviticus, all of those, you're going to do the washings this way and the offering this way, you're going to do this so many days and all that, and it may sound very dry to us. But if you read it, if you try to understand the book of Leviticus, it will help you better understand the book of Hebrews. Because a lot of the things in the book of Hebrews are associated with the law of the tribe of the Levites and the priests, and what the royal priesthood that had to come in Christ. But even though it's primarily a book outlining priestly rituals, it does report an incident involving the two sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu. You've probably heard these names, and you've heard this story before. Many of you may have. And what happened to them can provide a valuable lesson to us, especially keeping in mind God's unchangeable meticulousness. He didn't change. He's still the same God that brought his fire down on them and killed them. So pay close attention. What did happen to them and what we can learn from it will serve as the main thing in our study, the main point. First thing we see, we'll start by the incident involving the two. The circumstances leading up to what they did is the consecration of Aaron and his sons. We see that in chapter 8 and chapter 9 of Leviticus. And as priests, they had just been consecrated, just completed their whatever process it took for them to become consecrated. And then in verses 22 through 24, we see the glory of the Lord appearing before the people and blessed. When Aaron blessed the people, Scripture says that the fire came down from before the Lord, came out. The fire consumed the fat on the altar, and the people shouted and fell on their faces. But then, profane fire offered by Nadab and Abihu comes in the picture. They offered fire not commended by the Lord. Look at Leviticus 10, verse 1. We just read this. It says, Now Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it and laid incense on it and offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, which he had not commended them. The King James Version of the New American Standard calls it a strange fire. The New International Version translates it as unauthorized fire. It is important to note that it was something that the Lord had not commended. Plain and simple. Did they follow some of the procedures? Probably yes, but probably left something out. We're going to touch on this here in a second. Before we do, I want you to look at the two fires. Compare the two fires. Because in verse 2 of chapter 10, we see that the Lord sent fire and devoured them. If you look in chapter 9, verse 24, and compares to Leviticus 10, verse 2, you have one fire that showed, that indicated God's acceptance. When his fire consumed the offering, God was showing that he was pleased by what they had done. And then the second fire was God's rejection. God was rejecting the offering or whatever their fire was. One indicated God's blessing to the people, and the other God's curse. Why was God so displeased It was fire. They were offering with the incense, just like he said. Well, there are a few explanations. I'll give you three possible explanations. The first one is according to Leviticus 16:12 and Exodus 30, verse 9. They put hot coals in their censers which were not from the altar of the burnt offerings. So God had been specific where they were supposed to get their coals. The second possibility is that they were drunk. Leviticus 8 and 10 is following what had just happened. We see a prohibition against intoxicating drinks, which would lead some scholars to believe that they were drunk. That's why it wasn't acceptable. The third one is that they attempted to enter the holy place at an appropriate time. That's also referenced to Leviticus 16, 1 and 2. They had specific times that the priests could enter the holy place. Their sin may have been a combination of both. Maybe they had a little too much to drink and they tried to enter when they were not supposed to. Or they had a little too much to drink and they didn't know which place they were getting the coal from. But either way, the important thing is found in verse 1 that notes that it was doing that which God had not commended. It seems so trivial. It was still fire. It was still pretty much how God had ordered. But it was not what God had commended. Moses' explanation for what happened is the following. Those who approach God must regard Him as holy. That's in verse 3 of chapter 10. Holy means set apart, consecrated. You're supposed to treat it as special. Evidently, the actions of Nadab and Abihu did not respect God to the point of them getting killed. Second, God must be glorified before all. Still in verse 3, at the end of verse 3. And to glorify means to honor. And the actions of Nadab and Abihu, therefore, did not honor God at all. There's more instructions, though, because Nadab and Abihu's bodies had to be removed outside the camp. That's verses 4 and 5 of chapter 10. Then Aaron and his surviving sons were not to grieve while still consecrated for service. That's interesting. Aaron just lost two of his sons. And now Aaron and his other two sons are not supposed to grieve these two sons that died. It must have been a very difficult time for Aaron to lose his two sons in this way. And on an occasion, they're supposed to be joy. They're just consecrated to the Lord. They're fulfilled their duties to become the priests of the tribes of Israel. So it must have been tough. But since these things were written for our admonition, as 1 Corinthians 10:11 says, we're supposed to learn from this. There's something we need to learn from this. And I guess I already outlined for you that to me, I've noticed that the meticulousness of God has not changed. Maybe He won't set fire and burn us where we stand, but He still wants things the way He wants things. Regarding the worship of God, I'm just going to make a couple of points for you. First is regarding the worship of God. When we approach God in worship, we must do only what He has commanded. Maybe I need to prepare an entire lesson on how we're confusing standards of the world with the standards of God. Because yes, it is very admirable people that go beyond their line of duty. People that do more and take the initiative and make companies grow because they go beyond what the boss told them to do. That's not what God wants. God gave us the guidelines and says, this is what I want. You don't need to go beyond. I don't want you to go beyond. And in fact, if you go beyond, look at Nadab and Abihu. This was a mistake made by the two. So when we offer something to God, it has to be what He has commanded. Nadab and Abihu wasn't so much a weird action that they may have done, a completely different thing. It was that they did not do what God had commanded. If God is holy and truly worthy of glory, how can sinful man know what God desires as acceptable worship? Can sinful men read the mind of God? If so, then God is not at all holy, set apart. If sinful man can read the mind of God, then God is not at all different from men, therefore not worthy of glory. Indeed, man cannot know without divine revelation how God ought to be worshipped and glorified. What I believe, what I feel like, what I imagine God may accept or not, is not acceptable. He has given us, through His revelation, what He wants from us. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9 make that clear too. But without His divine revelation, we cannot know how to worship and glorify Him. This is one reason why I chose to touch on the subject of instrumental music, mechanical instruments in worship. In the New Testament, only singing is specified. Ephesians 5:19, Colossians 3:16. To offer praise with a mechanical instrument, with instrumental music, would be something God had not commended. Did He tell us in the New Testament we're not supposed to do it? Absolutely not. But for us to assume it is okay would be presumptuous in our part. To do so would be trying to second guess God, because if God wanted such, He would have told us. Like He repeated many things of the Old Testament in the New Testament, so we would have done those things. Since He didn't, we respect Him by offering only what He has commanded. What about God's approval of mechanical instruments in the Old Testament? Didn't you say that He has not changed? Well, here we can learn from the example of Moses. At one time, God told him to strike the rock and obtain water. Now, this is an excellent example because it's not mine. I never thought of this until I was studying for this lesson, so it's an excellent example. Because in Exodus 17:6, God told Moses, strike the rock. Later, God told him to speak to the rock. Numbers 20, verse 8. When Moses did the second time what God said to do the first time, he failed to follow, to show reverence to God. Numbers 20, verses 11 and 12. He also lost the right to enter the promised land. Also Numbers 20, verse 12, Deuteronomy 32:51. So God may commend different things at different times. And He has not commended instrumental music in the New Testament. He has commanded us to sing, so I'll do what He has commanded. What can we learn from the example of Moses? Well, we must do what God has revealed for the time appropriate for us. God may have approved of instrumental music in the past, but He simply commands singing in the New Testament, as I said. We cannot say, but God allowed in the Old Testament. Oh, God allowed many things in the Old Testament. How many wives did David and Solomon have? Don't see anybody running to that today, do you? Nobody arguing that. Well, some people may. That's a different question. A whole different sermon. But the second thing we can learn from this example of Nadab in the Bible regards the priority of God. Service to the Lord comes before service to the family. This we learn when Aaron was not allowed to grieve for his sons. It was necessary for others to take the bodies out of the camp. It's verses 4 and 5 of Leviticus 10. And since Aaron had been consecrated, the service to the Lord came first. You don't go out of here, you don't grieve because you're consecrated, and if you do that, you're going to die too. Scary thought. Now, Jesus made very similar points on several occasions in the New Testament. In Luke 9:59-62, as He was calling the people to follow Him, Luke 14, 25 to 33, as he addressed the multitudes following him. And in Matthew 10, 34 and 37, as he prepared his disciples for their work. In all these occasions, he's making a point that if your family gets in the way, or if your family contradicts what I am telling you, I come first. That's what Jesus said. Service to God comes first. When a conflict arises between service to the Lord and commitment to the family, Christ comes first. For example, obeying the gospel despite the objection of family members, or putting the assemblies of the Lord's church first when company comes. That's an interesting one, because this doesn't require us to be rude to our guests. We have them make themselves at home until you return, because they're going to be gone for just a little while. But this is what it means to seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. Matthew 6:33. God comes first. It's very easy for us to become complacent in our service to God. When this happens, it shows in our worship and our service to the Lord. Rather than regarding Him as holy and glorify Him as He deserves by doing exactly what He commands, we begin to offer worship how we want to offer worship. When we want to offer worship. Thus our worship is one of convenience instead of conviction. That's what this warning about Nadab and Abihu is all about. We need to be reminded of these incidents, like these, to humble us in the presence of God, to remind us of the seriousness of serving God. Maybe He's not dropping fire from above and killing us as we stand, but we could suffer just the same fate as Moses did by not entering the promised land. So let me ask you this: do we regard God as holy? Do we properly glorify Him in our service to Him? Do we serve Him first? Even above those closest to us? The example of Nadab and Abihu encourage us to do that which honors God. This morning I ask you to consider your life. Have you done more than what God has asked of you? Added to His Word in your service to Him? Have you put other things, your family or whatever you may have put in front of your service to God? We'll give you an opportunity to repent. We'll pray for one another. We'll help you in whatever situation you may find yourself. If you need to give your life to Christ this morning, you're ready to know what to do, then the water's ready. If you don't know what to do, I'll ask you to come forward. Tell us you want to know. Tell us what is this baptism you guys always talk about. Oh, we'll sit down and study with you. I didn't give you a whole study on baptism. So whatever your need may be, if it is to repent, if it is to put on Christ, or if it is to let us know that you want to know more, just come forward, sit in the front pews. So you got to stand and receive. Lord, we come before Thee.